Walter is a very interesting person. He basically was raised in rural Georgia in a pretty different type of environment.
Walter was always very creative. He could catch a fish with a bent pen. He could kill a bird with a slingshot. And when Walter was in the first grade, his teacher said to my mom, he is one of the smartest little boys that I have ever taught.
Everything that Walter had, he built himself. I don't ever remember Walter getting a new expensive toy, but he always managed to have them. He would make his own go-karts, and some of them would be steered with ropes, and we'd go out in the woods and go down hills on them and find out later after we all got bunged up that it needed brakes.
Usually on Saturday morning, we would go to Eufaula, Alabama. So we would cross the Chattahoochee River, and at about that place, Walter would say, now let me out at the junkyard. We would pull in, let Walter out, and then we would head to the Piggly Wiggly for the week's grocery shopping trip. And Walter would collect the scraps that he would use for the next week's innovations.
As Walt was brought up, he learned very early the concept of being a survivor. And as he likes to say, he doesn't understand the word no or it can't be done. Walt was out at Fairchild. He had tried college, and he found, just like a lot of other very bright people, that this didn't really fit his needs. Now, when he was out there, he had some spare time, and he realized that there were shops on the base where you could do work on your cars. And he went out and bought a Camaro that had been smashed up. And he bought 2 pounds of Bondo and a $99 paint sprayer from Sears, and proceeded to fix it up and sold it to one of the officers on the base for a $500 profit. He thought that was a good way to make money, and so he would 1 week figure out how to buy a car, 1 week to fix it, and 1 week to sell it.
He started out rehabilitating rundown houses. Then he started on commercial buildings.
Walt established several buildings that he rehabilitated from, say, old grocery stores or whatever, and leased them to the state. And over time, he became the second largest landlord for the state in Washington.
I do remember meeting Walt. It was when he was building his first building at Rock Point. I remember that he wanted money, and he didn't think he owed the bank. I was a banker at that time. He didn't think he owed the bank any explanation. And Walt, what are you going to spend it on? Well, this building. Well, how much are you going to spend and where? Well, just give me the money and I'll figure that out. Yeah, we had to have a basic course in lending, and he learned a lot. And 650,000 square feet later, Rock Point still a monument in this town.
The very best thing Walter did in Spokane was he met Karen. She was a wonderful first grade school teacher. So organized, a detailed person, just loved her little class of children, and had so much patience. I think she was most surprised at Walter's office. It was on the dashboard of his Spalding junkyard pickup truck. That is where his bills accumulated and his correspondence. Karen stepped right in and started helping him get a little more organized.
And really crazy about Karen. She's a fine lady, and I think when Walter and Karen got married, I think that put together a team that was unbeatable.
She comes with this First Lady grace about her, and I think she adds an incredible amount of balance both to Walt and what he's doing, although I don't think anyone can, totally curtail him. If he wants to do something, he's going to do it. She definitely is his sounding board, and she's become that to a lot of us. She's very reasonable, she's logical, she has great intuition. She picks up on things. I think some of us operate where we're just like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and Karen's always the one to sort of really understand how other people are taking it, or, oh, I don't think they really are on board with this. She's the one to always pick that up, and this is probably why, as a couple, they've been so successful.
I tell the story that my bride and I were married. That was in '86. We decided to build a home, and on a Sunday we were up there walking through the framed shell of the house, and Walt and Karen drove by and got out, and so I introduced them to my wife, and as they drove away, I said, they're the folks that are going to do the Davenport. Every 3 months he'd call me up and say, we need to have lunch, you know, and he'd have this come to Jesus meeting about the Davenport, you know, and about what he was thinking at that point. And was the opportunity right now, and was the timing right now? And so that was an ongoing process for a lot of years.
One of the reasons I told him that I didn't think it was a good project was because I had talked with other people who had looked at it and who had made estimates of what it would cost to rehabilitate it, and it was just absolutely horrendous in cost. And it was with that background that I told him that I didn't think it was a viable project.
We were over in Seattle on a weekend vacation with them, and he brought along a big sheaf of books and plans and was studying those during the evening hours. And he said, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And so he went in on Monday and bought it. Monique and I went with Karen and Walt and took a tour through the hotel, saw a foot of water standing in the basement, saw the rotting timbers, and heard strange sounds in the walls, and walked through and realized it was a mess and said, my God, Walt, what have you done? This is a terrible gamble. And Walt said, I never gamble.
They had a lot of people who didn't believe it would ever make sense. And I personally believe if it weren't for Walt and Karen, I don't know who else could have done it. Especially with Walt, he used to say every day on the job site, failure is not an option. And after an 18-hour day, the rest of us would look around and say, oh my gosh. But, it just takes that level of belief and commitment.
Karen she's the organization behind it all. I mean, Walt he makes it rain, and then Karen's got to figure out how to put all the pieces together. Just intimately involved in all the design choices, all the decorating choices, all the bookkeeping issues that were involved. I mean, Karen was just there, worked herself to death, just trying to keep up with Walt as he was, pounding nails and pouring concrete.
He's a good businessman. He's a visionary and saw what the possibilities were. It took a lot of money. As you know, I think he spent over $7 million to buy it and probably put $40+ million into refurbishing it, but it made it one of the best hotels in the country.
I would say if we were to earmark why they were successful, I would say that it was because of their hard work. They're very dynamic, but they're very personable.
Because of the outstanding things that they have done in the city of Spokane, because of what wonderful people they are, because of how they have stimulated business in the city of Spokane, how they have attracted business to the city of Spokane, how they have together revitalized a major segment of the city and provided a link with the history of the city.
They developed a reputation for being ethical, virtuous, and people trusted that. And Walt especially does a lot of what he does with just a handshake, and if he gives you his word, he means it. And Karen operates much the same way. They, to this day, very much care about absolutely every person they come in contact with and making sure that they do the right thing.
They're really the American dream. I don't know of any other couple really that started out with nothing to have done so well and been so successful.
Walt and Karen, we appreciate the friendship and the loyalty that you've had to us over the years, and it has been a real wonderful experience for both Monique and myself to watch you achieve these things and do these things for our community. You know, this is a great place in Spokane. We know you love it, we love it, and thank you for what you've done for it.
Congratulations, Walt and Karen. You so deserve this. There's no one else in the community that deserves this anymore. And you know I'd tell you if that were the case.
I think you know how I feel about you. I think you're a couple of the best friends I've ever had. I've enjoyed working with you. I'd do anything I could to help you in any activity, any aspect of business or life. And I cherish our memory, my memory of our activities together. Thank you.
Walt and Karen, I want to thank you for everything you've done in the community, and congratulations, a well-deserved award.
Congratulations, Walt and Karen. Many years of hard work, and your induction into the Hall of Fame is well-deserved. Lon and I are extremely proud of you, delighted for all the great times you've had, and can think of no one more deserving of this honor than yourselves. Congratulations.
Walt, I wish that Martha and I were with you and Karen tonight, because we don't know of two people that deserve this honor more than y'all do. Everyone from the McKenzie family wishes y'all well, and we hope that y'all enjoy tonight.